Hey, buddy.
How are we doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Just was watching some Formula One, watched the Leafs game, making some graphics because the Leafs are in on Ilya Lyubushkin, so getting ahead of that.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, so they're thinking about trading away Nick Ritchie to the Arizona Coyotes in exchange for Ilya Lyubushkin, and Lyubushkin will probably replace Justin Hall.
Okay.
So that'll be fun.
Making moves on Hall for sure then, eh? And who else did you say?
Ritchie.
Ritchie, that's right. Oh man, like I don't even know. Like if I had to rate the two worst players on the team, it's got to be them. But that doesn't mean I think they suck. You know what I mean? It just means that if I had to pick two as like trade bait, like it's got to be them, right?
With Ritchie, you can use the suck word because he's not very good. His problem is he doesn't fit a Leaf system. I feel like if he goes somewhere else, he could be productive. But because of the system the Leafs are in, where it's not a very bang and crash system, you know what I mean? It's not a hit and hit and hit. It's more of a skill and finesse type system. So they want them to be skillful and have nice hands and set up quality scoring chances. And Ritchie's just, I'm going to shoot the puck and hope it goes in.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's a little bit more old school in the style for sure. And it's not that those players don't have worth. It's like you say though, if you don't have a team built for that stuff, that style, they become a fish out of water. It's not their fault, but they gotta go.
Yeah,
right.
So, but I think I wouldn't have a problem with Ritchie if he wasn't pulling a $2.5 million cap hit for the next 2 years. But like I said,
salaries,
if we can
man, they always make it tough.
We can ship it off to Arizona and still get a really good quality defenseman in return. It'll be good.
Hey, look, I make no bones about it, man. When it comes to actually like trying to figure out how to build a team, like I have no idea. And I'll be the first to admit it, right?
Yeah, but I pride myself on analytics and learning the backgrounds behind it, like for example, the good old fashioned you hear it, you love it, cap circumvention. Tampa Bay, Vegas. You look at things and you look. How do I legally circumvent the cap? How do I get around this? How do I build my team at a cap where they're at the cap floor and we're going to get rid of them? The Maple Leafs have traded. The Maple Leafs have traded Nick Ritchie. The Maple Leafs have acquired Ryan Dzingel and Ilya Lyubushkin from the Arizona Coyotes in exchange for Nick Ritchie and a 2023 third-round pick or 2025 second-round pick.
Are you saying this for real? Are you messing with me?
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
Are you breaking news on my channel for the first time ever?
I'm breaking news on your channel for the first time ever.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Where do I find that?
Elliot Friedman on Twitter.
Oh, man. Oh, I don't like that guy, but yeah, he's probably right on that. I don't know, man. Sometimes he seems off. Sometimes I don't know. He seems shifty to me, but I really only like Bob McKenzie. But now he's retired, so I got to give it up to Elliot Friedman. The guy seems to come through in a lot of huge news. He's always involved somehow. He always seems to see the rumors even. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
But you're into the analytics stuff.
Yep. This is a fantastic trade for the Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
The Leafs are winning this one.
I hope so, man. I hope so. It's real. They tweeted it says AKZ as well on our chat there. So there you go, man. Like, hey, thanks for breaking the news. Now, what are we calling you on here? What do you want us to call you for short, man?
Just call me JJ. That works.
JJ, how you doing, man? I'm Ryan, by the way. I don't know if you actually know my real name, but yeah, I'm Ryan. Nice to meet you.
It's nice meeting you too.
Now, do you have a channel as well going on in terms of like Twitch and stuff that the people should know about?
Not really. I just use it I play games with my friends or whatever, and I just have it connected so people know who I am.
Nice. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by here, JJ. You were talking about analytics. Now, I really like... People don't think I'm serious when I say this, but I really do like the idea of analytics. I really do. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm pushing and poking and prodding at it, because I feel like it can go further, and I don't know how to mathematically explain it. So I'm always going to sound like an idiot to the people who know analytics. Does that make any sense to you? Even right now, I don't know if I'm making sense.
In a sort of sense, yeah, it kind of does make sense. Because there's always things that you want to learn, but you don't understand. Like, for example, me in any math class I'm in. I could probably tell you how to calculate analytics, but I could not tell you how to do functions. Not a chance.
right? Yeah, I mean, like, I like the direction that it's all going in. I love the fact that, like, I just truly believe if we can solve, like, the atomic bomb with math, if we can calculate those kinds of things, if we could put people in space with math, I'm sure we can figure out a simple game with math. Just people haven't seen worth in it yet. And then, you know, all these new salary cap generations, all of a sudden guys are crunching numbers and saving teams lots of money. And now big business teams and everything want to be in on it, right? They want to have the new cutting edge analytics. So I really like the idea of where it's going. But, like, naturally, I don't know. I feel like I'm a big troubleshooter. You know what I mean? I'm the most positive skeptic you'll ever meet because I believe in everything. But when I see it, I doubt it firsthand for sure until it's absolutely proven to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can get that.
So JJ, like, that's why I say, like, I hope people don't think I'm really, like, dumping on analytics. I enjoy it. I love seeing where you guys are taking all this stuff.
There's always the people that it's not even the people that dump on analytics. There's no such thing as analytics haters unless you're like 65 years old and you believe in the good old fashioned. They tell the stories about how they would fill their elbow pads with buckshot pellets or whatever, and go and hit people. But the only people that everybody understands analytics to some sort, because even if you look at it, you look at your plus minus, you look at your power play goals, those are analytics.
Yep.
But there's also everything is an analytic. It just goes how far. It's kind of like learning math as a toddler. You start off with your 1 + 1, your 2 + 2, and then eventually, as you get in through high school, end up with your fx is equal to 2x squared minus 14, and you're sitting there, you're like, I don't know what's going on. And there's some point where you stop understanding what's going on, and that's where you start learning.
Right.
So there's some things I don't understand. Like, I don't understand how to read transition metrics, but I could probably learn if I wanted to, and I probably should, because if I want to argue that somebody, like, for example, we'll say Rasmus Sandin is a top 5 player in transition data, which arguably could be. I haven't seen the data, but by watching him, he looks like he could be. Right. But if I don't understand how to prove my point, it's not going to work. It's kind of like being a lawyer. You might know the law, but if you can't prove it, you're not going to win a case.
Okay, well then follow me with this then, okay? So the thing that I question in analytics when my opinion differs from what all the main sources are saying, the reason why I'm so stubborn about it is because if you watch enough things, or if you watch something again and again and again, let's say, you know, like a video game, your favorite online video game, right? Everybody that's really good at a video game, the reality is they've seen patterns within it again and again and again and again and again. And naturally, they've picked up instincts and reflexes, right, to deal with those repeating patterns, right? We don't necessarily know how to calculate all those, right, with all the different numbers, right? When you're playing your favorite Call of Duty or whatever, you're not really talking about scope angle and, like, wind, you know, deflection. I don't even know the terms, but you know what I'm saying? You're not thinking about that stuff. You're feeling the instinct of, like, wha-bam, aim, pop, got him. You know what I mean? Because you've done it again and again and again. So there are certain patterns I feel are within hockey that those of us who have really watched this game with the passion and interest of always wanting to find out the strategy behind it, because physically, I suck, dude. Physically, I suck at this game, and I've sucked pretty much my whole life. You know, I'm pretty good for a guy still playing at my age, but I'm not like, I never had a shot at hockey in my life. That was not me. But I loved watching how the players played it, you know?
Yeah.
So when I see the math go against a pattern that I've seen 100 times over, and I'm like, I don't have the formula for you. I don't have the ability to put it down on a piece of paper and be like, that right there. That's why this is, you know, going to go in more times than you think or whatever. But when I see a pattern, like leaving a backdoor pass wide open again and again and again, I don't need math to tell me that's not Campbell's fault. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like at a certain point, you got to look at, if you do see these repeated patterns, you have to take a look at what they do to adjust to these certain patterns, right? So, for example, the backdoor pass. At what point does Campbell start thinking, hey, these guys are using this against me a lot, and I have to position myself better? And if he continues to get burned, sure, they all have the exact same amount of, like, shot quality percentage. Because there's, you know, obviously, you know, there's your low danger shots, your medium danger shots, your high danger shots.
Right.
So that would be considered a medium danger shot because it's not in like a lethal scoring opportunity, but it's only people think it's a lethal scoring opportunity because Campbell's not positioned himself right. So that's why you might think that that's not Campbell's fault, but in a sort of sense it is because he knows that it's coming and he still hasn't positioned himself right.
Very good logic there, sir. JJ, you're nailing something there, okay? And that's the problem. That's the problem of not knowing necessarily how to construct a team, how a team plays the game. When you're talking about like playing chess, there are certain things that are just true about chess. It's the same thing with hockey, right? Where if you want your players to function properly, they need to think less and just know what to do because you've done it 100 times over. So any situation where a goalie is facing a potential shot and a potential cross-crease pass, by law, the goalie has to square up to the shot and forget the pass. And I don't care if he's been beat 2 or 3 times that way, because he needs to never doubt that so that everyone else knows on his team, he is focused on that shot. If I take the pass, this guy's got nothing. You see what I'm saying? It's like a battle. Yeah. It's like being at war. You have to have your plan that you go for whether you die or not. You got to die on that cross. And that's the one right there where the logic says a goalie has to face the shot, bar none. And then anything else that happens off to the side, that's up to everybody else to cover. Right? Now, sometimes they get lucky, and I agree. A 2-on-0, you're right. Like, you got to at least be ready for it now because there's nobody there to protect you. But if there's even one guy back, he's got to help you out there. So that's where the hockey strategy overtakes the math, I think.
Yeah, you can't sacrifice a play because of instinct. You know what I mean? So, like, you can't be like, this would be a good play, but my training has taught me this or whatever. Mm-hmm. You have to make a play, and it'll also depend on what's going on. Like with Jack Campbell, we had the save he almost made today with the one with the sod goal, the tic-tac-toe that the Blues made. Mm-hmm. Sure, Campbell probably could have saved that.
Yeah.
Would he? If he had saved that, would that have been absolutely amazing? Is that entirely his fault? Probably about 50% of it, yeah. Because there's a part where you got to be quick enough to get there.
No, I disagree. Like, I'm sorry, that's not how the strategy works, right? Like, if he can, great, right? If he can, great. But you should never be in a position where your goalie has to do that. That's the problem. And until we address that as the problem, you're never going to fix it. That should be the Leafs' number one concern. All the skaters on the ice at that moment should be concerned about making sure Campbell doesn't have to deal with a pass across. Before that even got that close. You know what I mean? You're supposed to always be taking away the high danger chances, whether they're going for them or not. You don't wait for the team, your opponents, to make a decision and then react. You've got to slowly eliminate. It's like herding sheep, right? What you're doing is you're guiding your opponent to a very low danger percentage chance so that they're forced to either do that or lose the puck. That's what you're trying to do, right?
The Leafs do, basically, whenever the Leafs are going, they get a large quantity of low danger shots. That's why they always have a really high expected goals for, but always say low goals for as compared, because they don't set up quality chances. They set up a lot of just throw it on the net, get it on a rebound or whatever. But they also have a lot less point shots from guys. Even though you have guys who are quality at taking point shots, like TJ Brody, Rasmus Sandin, Justin Hall, those guys could take point shots, but it's because of the system that they're in, they're not. So they focus on their low danger. They don't focus on the low danger shots. They try and focus on the high danger shots. But because they can't get these high danger shots because they've been hemmed in or they've been pocketed away by the defense and they just can't shake them, they try and put on a high percentage of low danger shots onto the net. And when it doesn't work, that's when you have the key case of the Leafs getting quote unquote goal lead. So it's a tough situation. But
so you're saying that when they had those, you're saying that in those games then that they didn't actually get goalied, that they were actually just forced into positions where they were throwing desperation shots on the net, yeah?
Yeah, pretty much. That's basically like, was it the game against Vancouver?
Vancouver, yeah, totally.
The Leafs had a very high percentage of low danger shots.
Yes.
You know it's bad when you've got Pierre Engvall's wide open, but they don't know that he's wide. They can't get to him, so they just throw a random shot on that. So Andrzej Kasha is they're throwing a little muffin into Thatcher Demko's chest, And that's where your low danger shots come from, is when you're just rifling muffins into the goaltender's crest.
Dude, where were you when I was talking about this on Instagram? That's what I'm saying. I could have used your backup, man. I could have used your backup. Come on, JJ. Yeah. We're on the same page on that one, buddy. 110%.
Yeah, it's just the Leafs need to... They're good enough to get high danger shots. They do too much to try and get high danger shots.
Yeah, so it's almost like... it's almost like because they refuse to just play simple sometimes, it forces them to end up playing simple because they get stuck. And they do it out of desperation rather than out of control. So if they back off sometimes and actually don't come at them with all this high flying to the net, trying to get it, these high danger chances, if they just messed around a little bit from further back, right, they would force defensive players to have to creep up and then open up the areas in front of the net where they get to create their high danger chances, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Basically, if they simplified their game and they focus on getting high danger shots to the net, they'd probably have a lot more quality scoring opportunities. It's the fact that the least skilled players kind of do too much, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, because a lot of the times it looks really nice and they're really successful. However, sometimes they do try and do a little bit too much. If they could simplify that would be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, they need to simplify that. See, but the thing with me is, the reason why my eye doesn't go there as, like, the bigger problem at this point is because they're so good at it, though. Like, they convert a lot of, like, low danger chances that you wouldn't expect players to be able to do. But I agree, it's out of desperation. Well, I just think that when they do it, it's like you said, it's out of desperation still. I'm not impressed by it as you might be if it was on a different team, because I know what's happening there, right? But at least they're going in. It's the old case of if it works, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But my eye always goes to the defensive side because I grew up playing defense, man. Like, you know what I mean? That's where I watch the game while playing for the most part. I've seen a lot of this. I've made so many mistakes that I point out in NHL players. You know what I mean? Because it's not that they made it that makes them like me. We're not alike at all. I make that mistake, but I make it a million times. That might be the 15th time in his career that he makes that mistake. You know what I mean? So my eye always goes to the defensive stuff because that's the side of the game I've seen. So they're still scoring 3 goals, 4 goals a game a lot of times, or 2 goals, but I can take that. I want to stop seeing so many goals against, you know what I mean? And it just feels like no one's paying attention to what's going on in front of their own net right now. And again, I've said it's not just Toronto either. It's like teams across the league. But it's such an easy fix. I don't understand why guys aren't doing it. You know what I mean?
Yes. Another topic here. Sorry to derive from but it's kind of relating to your allowing less goals. Are you aware of the concept of goal save above expected in terms of goalies?
No, not really. Like I've heard these terms, but I can't tell you. Yeah.
So give me 2 goalies.
Okay. Vasilevsky.
So Jack Campbell for 1.
What?
We'll do Jack Campbell for 1, just because keep it Leafs related. And you want Andrei Vasilevsky?
Yeah. Yeah, and then Vasilevsky.
All right. So I'll submit those 2.
Okay.
So if you go on evolvinghockey.com, there's...
Do you have a subscription?
You don't need a subscription for basic standard tables.
But do you have it? So for what you're doing here tonight, you don't need it?
No, you do not.
Cool.
You just have to go to basic tables. They can do it too. Skater tables, goalie tables. You don't need that, but if you want the charts and stuff, you do. All right. So goal save above expected is basically the quality of shots. So you take your quality of shots or whatever, right? And so you got your high danger, medium danger, low danger, whatever. Yeah. So you can add them up statistically and to see the quality of shots taken.
Okay.
So you've got your goal save above expected. So you got your high danger shot. That's probably going to account for a high level of goal save above expected. Yeah. So a wide open net, Campbell dives back, absolutely robs it. He's probably going to get like a 0.9 or 0.8.9 on the GSAX scale. That's probably going to get added to. It, right?
Right.
So the higher your goal save above expected is, the higher or the better you are considered as a caliber of goalie. So with Jack Campbell, he started out, he was almost at a 20 goal save above expected on the season, and now he's at a 6.48 because during the time from the All-Star game stretch to before the All-Star game stretch, I think it was shortly after Christmas break, all the way up until now, he's been actually, this might be a tough pill to swallow, one of the league's worst goalies in terms of goal save above expected and Delta Fenwick save percentage in that span.
So to speak. Yeah.
So to speak, analytically, it's not even been the defense's fault. It's been the fact that Jack Campbell has been too inconsistent to keep his team in the game. So if people want to go around blaming Justin Hall or Travis Dermott or Timothy Liljegren, whoever you want to blame, half the time it's not even their fault. As a matter of fact, Justin Hall's been a serviceable defenseman this year. It's the fact that Jack Campbell just cannot make a save.
Okay, so when I show clip after clip after clip of them leaving guys wide open for Jack Campbell to not have to to have to worry about, you know what I mean? Because they're literally puck watching. They're not even paying attention to who's behind them. They have no clue that guy's behind them. So even though I show that Justin Hall's done it, Muzzin's done it, Brody's done it, Spets has done it, Marner's done it, all within a month, like a lot. And it's led to goals when they did this. So because of that, it doesn't matter because the numbers say that Jack Campbell's the one that's not making enough saves. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but there's also the aspect that you look at is Jack Campbell might be doing enough to try and make the save, but it's not exactly is he doing enough, it's is he making the save. So sure, Marner might leave him open. Marner might blow an assignment that leaves, we'll say, Connor McDavid all alone on a breakaway. Sure, that might be Marner's fault. He'll probably get his defensive points docked against that or whatever, and his defensive awareness and like his defensive stats might drop. But you also have to take a look is that Campbell is put in a high danger situation, right? So if Campbell cannot make that save, his high danger save percentage is going to go down, and his goal save above expected is going to go down.
Okay.
Actually, because if he allows a high danger goal, it'll only go down a little bit. If he saves a high danger one, it'll go up a lot. If he allows a low danger one, it'll go down a lot. Right. So that's like saying like the shot from the point or whatever. So say against Calgary, Eric Goodbranson, he takes a slap shot from the point. It somehow manages to squeak in. That's going to ding him a lot because that's something he probably should have had. A breakaway won't do too much because there's a limited things you can do, especially against someone like Connor McDavid. So that's why the goal save above expected, Delta Fenwick save percentage, they take into account the player, the team, the line mates of the other team, the defenseman in front of you, the forwards in front of you, the situation, even strength, power play, penalty kill, empty net on the other side. It takes into account that.
Yeah. See, the problem is you think it does. And my problem is that's because you're trying to play a law of averages, whereas I'm trying to enforce a strategy upon the game. Honestly, this doesn't mean anything to me. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but like I said earlier, if you're going to tell me that I'm supposed to expect Campbell to start preparing for a pass across when I have people nearby that can cover him, no, I don't. And he can get scored on 100 times a season that way, and I will never once blame him because what the heck are we doing? We can't block that pass across. We can't even give that guy a tough time in front of our net. We're literally just going to let him stand there and just open that wide up. You know what I mean? And there's 20 players on the ice that can take away that chance. 20 players. There's only one player that you're asking to go post to post or even just halfway across the crease to have to deal with a pass and a shot at the same time. And you're expecting him to deal with it like that, right? Because it's a lightning fast reflex as a goalie. He has to make a decision before that puck has left the stick. So your math is showing that he needs to do that more. Never. He never needs to do that. And if you tell me any goalie does it more than him, fine, that's great. But we can't expect that is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? That can't be held against him.
That goes back to the high danger, low danger shot attempts. So if you're going cross crease and it's going to be a two on one, they sauce it over, we'll say a diving Morgan Riley, and they score on Jack Campbell, it'll probably drop his goal save above expected by 0.2 points. It's not a major difference, maybe even less, 0.17, something like that. It won't do too much damage to him. So it all depends on, because like I said, it takes into account what the defense does. It takes into account there's everything that can be taken into account except for bad bounces or puck luck, because you can't really track intangibles and stuff like that. But there are some goalies who are better than others, like I have here. Igor Shesterkin, for example. He's got a 25.42 goal save above expected. he's probably, and he's got a 1.86 total defensive save percentage, which might not sound a lot, but for example, Jack Campbell's got a 0.48. So there's multiple factors that Shesterkin's been playing absolutely out of his mind, and he's been the only reason that the Rangers are in this position that they're in. See, if we had this Campbell,
that's bold to say. That's bold.
Here's my thing. If we had to do a Hart nomination right now, if we had to go, okay, we're voting for the Hart Trophy here, right now, you and I, this is deciding it. First place for me is Igor Shesterkin. Second place, Austin Matthews. Third place, Johnny Gaudreau.
All right.
Those are the people that have been the most valuable to their team at the current moment, because those people are dragging their team, like legitimately dragging their team to a playoff spot. Like the Rangers, if Shesterkin dropped all 25 goals save above expected, went straight back down to 0, do you know how many games the Rangers would have lost?
Probably a bunch.
10, 12.
Yeah.
They would have been in the gutter. Because the Rangers don't score a lot of goals. They don't win a lot of games. They don't win games by a lot. They win games by 1 or 2. And if they do win games by a lot, like a 3-goal deficit, they've probably put in a couple empty netters.
I'll tell you what. Why don't you come back on another one of these things and we'll talk Rangers, because I'm about to go on another huge tangent and I really got to get going. But I wanted you to have the last word on something. So, as a sign of good faith for coming out, JJ, I wanted you to have the last word on something. So there you go, folks. You heard it on here first about the trades for Richie. Thank you for doing that, JJ.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
And again, thanks for the point there on the Rangers. I'm going to let it stay uncontested, and I hope you come back, and maybe we'll talk about it, okay?
All right, perfect. I got to go to sleep because I got to work in the morning.
Yeah, man, we could do this all night. I know. We got to get going, right? Yeah. All right, peace, brother.
Right. Thanks for having me.
No problem, dude. See ya.
Yeah.
Woo, there you go, folks. Didn't know we were going to get into that, huh? You never know what can happen around here. All right, so thanks for sticking around, everybody in the chat. Greg for coming along for the ride a little bit there. Gilly and Sidley and everybody else, AKZ and everybody else I saw tonight. And our friend JJ for coming to the channel for the first time with a nice little discussion there, all right? So be ready, man. Tell all your friends. We can all talk. We can all have a good time. Sound good? Peace, y'all.